Choice brings happiness. However, too many choices could make us unhappy. Is there an optimum level of choices? What is the relationship between number of choices and happiness? This question can be asked in a slightly different way if you're thinking about money as a generator of choice. Is it really the more, the better? The traditional wisdom tells us that choice and autonomy is directly related to happiness. It gives you options to pursue meaning in your life, finding activities that stimulate and excite you, keep you active and entertained. This is an important aspect of feeling happy. New York Times bestseller author Malcolm Gladwell, in his inspiring TED Talk, Choice, Happiness and Spaghetti Sauce, told us a story of how food scientist and psychologist Howard Moskowitz, who changed the entire food industry by offering vast amount of choices. His theory called horizontal segmentation, which means instead of offering customer the one and only best product, he would suggest company offering a wide range of different products. The more products company offers, the higher satisfaction customer would get, and hence higher sales and profit. He developed his idea while designing the optimum sweetness for Diet Pepsi. Historical experiment shows that optimum sweetness should be somewhere between 8 and 12%. With this in mind, he designed several blind tasting experiments. He was expecting to see the data that show a nice bell curve with the highest concentration around an optimum sweetness level. Instead, he found that people's choice scattered around and shows no concentration at all. It is so spread out that he realized that there's no best Pepsi, there's only best Pepsis. Food does not sit on hierarchy or pyramid. They sit on a horizontal plane, and the best is different from one customer to another. By offering a wide variety of products, customer will be able to find their favorite instead of the best defined by the food company. Howard applied his theory to Pringles tomato sauce and helped their products took off by offering many different choices and dominate the market for 30 years. More choices and happier customers. However, more choices not always lead to more happiness. When we are overloaded with choices, it becomes more and more difficult to make our mind. In 2000, psychologists Sheena Linga and Mark Lipper from Columbia and Stanford University published a study about jams. On a regular day at the local food market, people would find a display table with 24 different kinds of jams. On the other day, at the same food market, people were given only 6 different types of jams. Guess which display table leads to more sales? Exactly! They found that while the big display table with 24 jams generated more interest, people were less likely to purchase a jar of jam than in the case of a smaller display, about 10 times less likely. And it's not just the sales volume that's impacted. Customer satisfaction takes a hit as well. In the study, the bigger display of jams leads to lower customer satisfaction than the smaller display. Why those two examples about food are so contradictory? There's a very subtle difference here. Having more choices still make us happy, but have to make a choice when facing too many different options make us unhappy. That's why the 24 jam table still generate more interest, but less purchases and customer satisfaction. When overloaded with choices, we simply don't have the time and energy to understand each of them. This state of confusion and mental burden would cause pain in our mind. Swarthmore College psychologist Barry Schwartz contends that American customer options have already moved beyond the happiness threshold because too much decision-making makes us unhappy. Apart from the mental challenge to understand each choices, too many options can also make us unhappy by focusing our attention to the sunk cost with a psychological bias of loss aversion. I've read a beautiful love story recently. A young man who's a talented artist met a young and beautiful girl who's also a talented artist in a long trip far away from their hometown. The trip lasts for months. They fall in love with each other naturally. At the end of the trip, he decided to invite her to visit his hometown. Here lived an unremarkable girl who's the young man's best friend, so close that they share all of each other's happiness and sorrow. He can't wait to introduce his girlfriend to her. However, after seeing this, the country girl felt hurt. She realized that she already fallen in love with him, and her pain made him realize that he is, as well, inseparable from his childhood sweetheart, and decided to apologize and farewell to his girlfriend. If our young men have only met one of those two girls in his life, they could live happily together and wouldn't be such pain anymore. The pain comes from having to make a choice. As reader, our mind would be focused on the one who's rejected, not the one who's chosen. The objections are seen as the loss by our unconscious mind and thus generate the pain. Unfortunately, our brain hates loss so much, more than enjoy the gain. That's why even we make the right choice, we still feel less happier than if we don't have to make a choice. Now we've seen too much or too little choice, both makes us unhappy. Is there an optimum number of choices? Famous psychologist George Miller suggests that the magic number is 7, plus or minus 2. That's how many options our mind can process at a single time, according to Miller's landmark research from the 1950s. For simpler options that we expect to use less energy to think, the optimal number may even reduce to 3. That's why we often see 3 variations of products being offered by seller: the economy, average, or luxury version. However, the exact optimal number is very situational, and it's very hard to give a universal powerful number that works for all circumstances. Let's also cover the million-dollar question we had at the beginning of this video. How much money would make you the happiest? Data published by the World Bank and the World Happiness Report 2017 shows that happiness increased dramatically with your income when you earn less than $40,000 a year, and seems plateaued at around $60,000. A similar study published by Proceedings of the National Academy of Science of the United States of America, PNAS, shows that emotional well-being saturated around $75,000 per year for American citizens. The pressure and long working hours often associated with ultra-high income normally surpass the marginal happiness gain brought by the additional income. However, in my opinion, earning 20% more than your brother-in-law may be a better indicator. Finally, choice is not happiness, but happiness can be a choice. It is up to you to intentionally choose it every single day. You can choose to be happy in almost any circumstances. As psychologist Viktor Frankl described about his experience when he was captured in Nazi concentration camp from his book Man's Search for Meaning, he found that even the worst situation possible, one can always have the freedom to choose his attitude towards life. So, if you're still wondering how many choices you need to make you happy, always remember, you can just choose to be happier. Thanks for watching this video. Please leave a comment below for how you feel choice versus happiness, or any other interesting contradictory ideas you'd like to see us cover in the future videos. See you next time.